Well, hello again, folks, from me and all of my chins. Sorry about that. I thought I'd drop a quick get ready with me. It's a very minor get ready with me. Um, just so you can see my kind of everyday look that I do rather than the full face of makeup that I had on the other day, which was very poor when I looked at it back. But hey, this is life. Good afternoon, Carter. Carter says hello. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the time while I'm doing my face. I'm not going to talk about the products and makeup and things like that because I'm not knowledgeable enough. What I am going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got here in the Peloponnese in southern mainland Greece. So, without further ado, let's put my cigarette out, start my face, and start talking to you how I got here. So, my late husband and I decided many years ago that what we wanted to do was not to live in England when he got older. He was 17 years my senior, so it was going to come quicker for him than for me. So we decided that we wanted a home abroad. Now, we had friends that live in France, and the plan originally was that we were going to move there. But France got incredibly expensive to buy land and to buy property or even to build property, and we had a limited budget. So we decided to maybe look somewhere else. And we considered Greece, but we considered the islands because we've been to a few islands and we liked it. And you can live on the islands over winter, but it's not the best. So we decided to have a little holiday in 2003 and come to the Peloponnese in mainland Greece just for a 5-day holiday, you know, one of these booked through the travel agent. And just thought, okay, well, while we're here, maybe we'll book 1 or 2 appointments and see if we can see a property. So we booked 3 appointments, and the first appointment we had, we saw this house. Now, the guy who who sold us the house, or who was our estate agent, Dimitri Dionysopoulos, is, oh my lord, one of the most handsome men I have ever met. He is beautiful. And both mine and my husband's jaw dropped when we walked in the office because he was just, oh my God, drop dead gorgeous, really, really. And he runs a very, very nice real estate company. He deals mostly with the luxury properties, but he also deals with like our kind of property, because our property was not a big property. The company is called Theasis Real Estate. Have a look at some of the places he's got on there. Some of them are just incredible. So big shout out to Dimitri. So as I say, this was the first house we saw. He showed us round. We fell in love with the view, essentially. It's astounding. The view here is just astounding. It's a little boxy 2-bedroom house. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Our prerequisite was we wanted, because we want guests to come, we wanted 2 little bathrooms, so there were people had their own space to shower in, because there's nothing worse when you've got 4 adults trying to share a bathroom when you're trying to go out, for example, especially 2 women. Oh, bad news, bear. So, as I say, this was the first house we saw, and we did fall in love with it, but it was a little bit above what we wanted to pay at the time. We had, as I say, a limited budget. So he also showed us another little property in a nearby village called Finiki, which was very pretty, but just wasn't for us. And we thanked him very kindly. He was very attentive, very informative, really very helpful. And then we went to the next village along, Mathony, and we saw the guy from Mathony Real Estate. Now, no disrespect to this man, I'm sure he knows his business, but the comparison between how we were treated by him to how we were treated by Dimitri was worlds apart. It was poles apart. This guy essentially made me and my husband feel like we were a pair of time wasters who were just on holiday and wanted to find something to do. Which, you know, it might have been that. But you don't know. You don't know what your customers are going to be doing. So it was a foolish way to behave, I felt. And he showed us 2 very nice properties. One which was well within our budget. Not just well within our budget. Hello, I'm attracting flies. But also under our budget. And it was furnished and it was bigger than this property. It had a self-contained flat built in the downstairs, because this is 2 levels, but the underneath is just a big empty space, and it's where my husband used to play with his tools. Little bit of a double entendre there, so get used to them. I'm a dirty bitch. So yes, it was a lovely place. It was under our budget, but truthfully, we decided not to go with it, not because of the house, but because of his attitude. And then finally, on the 3rd day, we went to a village the other way, going towards Kalamata, called Koroni, which is extremely popular with the Brits, extremely popular. We didn't like the area, and the estate agent never showed up. Oh! So our attitude was, well, fuck you. If that's how you're going to behave, you're not going to be very professional. So we finished our lovely little break here. We went back to England and said, look, we need to make a decision. Are we going to buy there? Is it the kind of area we want to live? We really like the area. It's very quiet in winter. There's about, in this little locale, there's about 300 residents in winter. That is it. It is wonderful if you like peace and tranquility. We really liked this house. It was very simple, very plain. It wasn't fussy, it wasn't huge, which we didn't want. It had some ground with it, certainly more land than we ever had in England. I think the property, excuse me, the area of land that we have is about 2,000 square metres. You know, 2,500 square metres. It's not a lot of land, but we do have 22 olive trees, 20 of which are oil and 2 of which are eating. Now, one of my eating olive trees never produces, but the other one produces so many that I only bottle every 2nd year. And I use all year my own olive oil. Oh my God, can I tell you the beauty and the joy of going into my little utility room and decanting my own olive oil. Oh, I love it. I don't use anywhere near the kind of amount that the Greeks use, because everything here is doused and cooked in olive oil. And if you go to the Mani, which is the next peninsula along, which is where Bibi's from, or Bibi's family, they douse literally everything, you know, it's drowning in oil, and it's too much for me, for my taste. I mean, I grew up in England in the 70s and 80s, where you went to the chemist and bought a little tiny bottle of olive oil to put in your ear. You didn't eat it. So it was a whole new thing to me. So yes, very, very pretty little place, very nice people. And you're often worried that people are nice to you, because it is a tourist village, but it was only developed about 30 years ago, so it's a new tourist village, so it's not spoiled. But you're often worried that maybe people are only being nice to you because, you know, you're a customer, you're in there spending money, and fair enough, that's business, hey? But having moved here, I have discovered that no, the people are genuinely wonderful. So we decided, yes, we were going to buy the first house that we saw. Contacted Dimitri, told him we wanted to go ahead. We thought it would be a nightmare because Greek bureaucracy is world renowned. It was easier than buying a house in England, trust me. Dimitri helped us with everything. He put us in touch with an incredibly good solicitor, Georgia Vizvicki, who is extremely honest, extremely good at her job, speaks beautiful English, because I spoke no Greek then at all, obviously. So yeah, he was incredibly helpful. The purchase went through with no problem at all, no problem at all. And we announced in 2004, so we came here on holiday in September 2003. By June 2004, the house was completed, we'd signed, we'd paid, it was our house. And we announced that we were no longer planning to move to France. When we retired, we were planning to move to Greece. So, cut to 2007. Alan decided, even though we didn't have as much money as we wanted to retire on, we had enough to survive, because it's sort of, I'm attracting flies, as I say. It's cheap to live here. The cost of living is very cheap by comparison to England. Oh my God, by comparison to England. Oh. So, at the end of November 2007, we packed up our little car. We'd already brought over a lot of our furniture that we were bringing here. Not everything was brought from England. Some of the stuff we bought here. And we moved here on the 1st of December 2007. And so started 6 of the most glorious years of my life. I was with Alan from the time I was 21. We were together almost 26 years when he died. He was my life. He was my life. He was my soulmate. He was the funniest, the kindest. You know, God love him. He was no beauty. Hell. But he was the nicest guy I ever met. I loved him so much. And we had 6 incredible years, 24/7 together, which you don't have in England because you're both working full time. You don't have any kind of downtime really, because even when you're not at work, there are things to be done. And don't get me wrong, there are things to be done here as well. But if you're not working full time at the same time, it's like having, the 6 years were like having another 15 years with Alan, let's say. So we will again cut then to 2013. It was discovered Alan had an aneurysm, an aortic aneurysm. Now, he'd had a heart operation in 1999 to replace a valve, but that was done in England. So we did all our research. We went off to Athens. We found a great surgeon, good hospital, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But the long and the short of it was Alan didn't survive the surgery, which devastated me. Because he was, you know, a generation older than me, I assumed I'd be a relatively young widow. I never thought I'd be 46. I never, ever thought I'd be 46. So the first thing you think is, what am I going to do? You know, we don't have kids. I'm alone here. I have no family, no brothers or sisters. I have some distant cousins who I love immensely, but it's not the same as brothers and sisters. It's not the same as kids. I didn't even have fur babies at that point because Alan was allergic. And at that point, I wasn't ready to commit to a fur baby. I was too busy licking my wounds, which were deep. Um, People assumed that I might go back to England, particularly the English. I had no desire to do this, none whatsoever. This is my home. I love it here, but I knew I couldn't exist how I'd existed when Alan was alive. Apart from anything else, because I was 17 years younger than him, I only got approximately 35 to 40% of his pension, because I'm expected to live longer than a partner who'd been the same age as him. So I knew I had to work, and the first year, and this year incidentally, I worked in one of the local restaurants in Finicunda called Dionysos, another Dimitri. This is Dimitri Tsonis. It was always our favourite restaurant in Finicunda. We loved the food, we loved Dimitri. He's a wonderful guy, really funny. I'm close friends with his wife. We were in theatre groups together. And I asked Dimitri if he needed anybody to work in the restaurant for summer 2014. And he said yes. And I had a fantastic summer, as hard as it was because I was without Alan and it was my first year without him. And I missed him immensely every day. I miss him every day now. But it was gut-wrenching at that point. But I knew I had to go on living because, aside from anything else, that's what Alan would expect from me. I'm not one of these little girls that's going to crinkle up into a ball and die. I had to survive. I'm tough. I'm strong. I survived. I went a little wild for a year. Why not? Fuck it. Life's tragedies teach you to survive in your own way, and I survived. So, however, the following year, the crisis that you've read so much about and heard so much about, and if you live here have lived through, hit quite hard, and Dimitri couldn't afford to keep me on. And I went to work at Lovely Tourism, as I've told you before, and I spent 3 summer seasons working at Lovely Tourism for a very, very nice Australian Greek lady called Iota Spiropoulou. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. I'm sure she will slap me later if it isn't. And just so you know, Iota taught me about new Tracy's style, because old Tracy, who lived with Alan, was 20 kilos heavier. Little butterball. Because I was content, I didn't give a shit. So yeah, I was a little butterball. I was always in like leisure clothing. I very rarely wore anything glitzy unless I was gigging, because I do sing for my supper occasionally. And Iota taught me a little bit of style. She introduced me to some incredible jewellery from her shop, Lovely. Lots of Swarovski, great quality, very affordable, very beautiful. She introduced me to some Greek brands that I'm very, very fond of. This particular little t-shirt, which I love, if you can see, it's a little shorty lilac t-shirt I have had since 2014. I have lived and died in it. I have washed the arse out of it. I never iron anything unless I really, really have to. It's never been ironed. And look at the quality. This is still in great nick. It's the same colour it always was. It's a fabulous little cap sleeve t-shirt for, you know, just for running around every day. And this is from a company called BU, and I have quite a few purchased products from Iota from BU. BU is probably one of my favourite designers here in Grove. Well, it's like a semi-designer. It's not ultra high end, but it's not cheapy. It's nice stuff, and it's different. I can't get anything like this in England. Nothing at all. So I was very, very, very happy to discover that new Tracy liked this kind of stuff, and because I lost 20 kilos, I essentially had no choice but to replace my entire wardrobe pretty much. And I now have some slightly younger clothing, if anything. Even though I'm now older, I actually wear slightly younger clothing. I'm into my skinny jeans again, which I never had a relationship with since the 80s because I was a fat little bitch. So now I wear skinny jeans, I wear lots and lots of the pretty little short suits, play suits, jumpsuits, lots of things like that. Things that I wouldn't have worn when I was 20 kilos heavier because I looked like a little fat sausage tied up in the middle. Now they look fantastic. My wonderful friends were so supportive of me here after Alan died. Not simply in the sense of giving me a job, keeping me occupied and busy. They taught me, excuse me a moment, Alfie, come in here. They taught me how to survive on my own. What are you eating? Get up there. You naughty boy, get up. He's outside chewing something. I don't know what he's been chewing. I will go and discover. You naughty boy, go and lay down in your bed. Thank you. Right. They also went with a complete change in culture because obviously here in Greece, the big religion is Greek Orthodox. And most Greeks are relatively, I won't say religious, but they're believers. They go to church, they do their thing at church, they baptisms, weddings, and the funerals are something else. Alan would not want to be buried. It was not his thing. He wanted to be cremated. There was no crematorium here in Greece at the time. I don't know if there is now in Athens, but there wasn't at the time. So my beautiful best friend, Dimitra, obviously a Greek lady, helped me, and we had Alan's body taken to Sofia in Bulgaria, where there is a crematorium, and then his ashes were brought back to me, all the way from Bulgaria. Come in here, Alfie, now. And I assumed that the Greek people would find it weird that Alan was not buried and that I had had him cremated. And I won't say everybody was understanding, but 90% of them were, really, really. Now, when his ashes came back to me, I had trouble coping. So I left it for about a month after I got his ashes back, and I decided I was going to have a memorial to Alan because I didn't want to commiserate one sad day in our lives. I wanted to celebrate the joy he had brought to my life for 26 years. So all around the house, on all the windows, I printed up A4 photographs. I mean, Alan, like I say, was no beauty, but he used to take some crackingly funny photographs. And they were everywhere. I had them all around the house. Everybody bought a plate. Everybody bought some booze. I said, no black. It was no black. It was my one thing. You will not wear black. Alan was not a black man. As you know, black man. Alan didn't wear dark colours. Alan was a happy, joyful creature. So no black. I wore an incredibly leery pink dress with bright colours on. It was one of Alan's favourite dresses on me. I knew he'd approve. And everybody went with it. The Greeks really went with it. And we spent the whole day telling stories because, I mean, Alan has pulled some incredible stunts, and we will talk about Alan in another video. He's done some wonderfully funny things that he probably didn't mean to be funny but were. And everybody had a story to tell about Alan and how much he made them laugh and things that he'd done. And it was a wonderful celebration of a gloriously happy life. And they went with it. And I loved them for that. So no going back to England. And so again, 3 years in the shop, 1 year in the restaurant, now my 2nd year in the restaurant. I survived. I continue to survive. I have BB, who is my man. It's not immensely serious. Like, you know, I'm not looking for another husband, for Christ's sake. Alan was already the second. So I wanted a companion that I could occasionally go out with, someone to spend time with, go for a coffee, and BB fit the bill. He's a nice guy. He treats me very well. He's incredibly handsome. He's quite a lot younger than I am. Young Greek men like older women. I don't know if it's the whole Oedipal thing. I don't think so. Might be with some of them, truthfully. But not with BB. And he's a nice guy. He makes me laugh. He is responsible for Carter, or he's responsible for me having Carter. I will do, again, another video about how I ended up with my 2 little fur babies. But Carter was my first and chose me, essentially, and he is my love. I spoil the little monster rotten. He's consequently quite a chubby little git because I spoil him rotten. I've got him on a diet at the moment because the vet told me off because he's a big fat lump. And I made it worse because I cut the hair on his ears. Alfie, the baby, loves Carter's ears, and he's always got his nose and his tongue in his ears. And because Carter's got a spaniel in him, he ended up with knotty ears, and I cut the hair on his ears, which suddenly made him look like a big fat lump. So I knew he had to go on a diet. So he's currently on a diet and not happy about it because he likes mummy love and he likes mummy attention. Oh, there we go. But yes, enough about Carter. There I am. You just got ready with me. This is my general look. It's much simpler than all the faffing I did the other day. This is my hair down. I thought, as all my other videos, I'd had my hair scragged back and I looked like, you know, I was trying to give myself an Essex facelift. I decided to throw the straighteners through it, not terribly successfully apparently, and just wear it down for you today. I have a friend coming on Saturday, a friend of mine from England called Lisa Marie, who, funnily enough, was a co-worker of Alan's. I've never actually met her in flesh. Weird, eh? And we've been friends for years, and she'd been threatening to come out and visit, and her daughter, Heather, is off on holiday with her dad, because, one of them, and so Lisa's come to visit me, and I'm very, very excited. So there will be updates pending. There will be, my regular spot will be a Friday. At the moment you're getting more videos than once a week. Once a week is all I really want to do. It's just, you know, what happened to me this week? Have I bought anything this week? You know, general crap. Because this is good for my soul. I'm not one of your 22-year-old YouTube bloggers who does nothing but makeup. I do a bit because I think it's nice to see a woman of my years, a middle-aged woman, and what she does, because we're not all 22. I'm not. I'm a middle-aged woman. I can't do what the young women do, and there is nothing worse than a woman my age trying to compete with the generation, or two in fact probably, down from me. There is nothing sadder. So you will not find me doing that. I certainly don't act like a middle-aged woman. I behave like a child most of the time. I am easily amused. Farting is an Olympic sport in this house. Between me and the dogs, it was always an Olympic sport in our house, to be quite frank. So I am a child at heart, but I am aware that I no longer look like a child. So I have to behave myself occasionally. So I don't throw on lots of the looks that most of the YouTube bloggers do, because they would look ridiculous on me. And like I say, with my several chins, deal with it. You're a grown woman, Tracy. It's time you learnt. So, enough for me from now. The boys have been surprisingly quiet, which concerns me. Must go and see what Alfie was eating. Catch you later. Mwah. Feel like ya.